Welcome to Film Daffodil. This is your favourite movie review. James Bond, as we know it, is dead. What? Maybe not. Let's go back to 2006.
The people behind the world's most famous spy was the worst kept secret in showbiz.
But today, the actor Daniel Craig was officially unveiled as the new James Bond.
Sky's entertainment correspondent Matt Smith caught up with him.
Like a scene straight out of a Bond movie, 007 number 6 was delivered to the world's media today by the Royal Marines. The speculation had proved to be right. 37-year-old Englishman Daniel Craig is to play the world's most famous spy.
In 2006, Daniel Craig was announced as the new James Bond. And for me, growing up in the 1990s with Brosnon as James Bond in GoldenEye, which I saw in the cinemas, this new blonde James Bond left me feeling cold.
You were expecting someone else?
What was your reaction? Tell us, talk us through that.
I need a drink.
I didn't like it. I didn't like him. This was going to be a terrible James Bond. At the time, Robert Ludlum's The Bourne Identity in 2002 and The Bourne Supremacy in 2004 had been released and hit the screens, and a fast-paced, more gritty interpretation of the spy thriller was born, literally. The fight scenes and action became industry-changing, and now for Bond, emulating this new, more realistic, less tongue-in-cheek espionage game required Bond to step up or lose his audience. Jason Bourne, a cross between James Bond and Mission Impossible, this new spy thriller captured a new audience and changed movies from then on.
Your file shows no kills, Bond. But to become a 00, it takes 2. How did you die? Your contact? Not well. You needn't worry. The second is... Yes. Considerably.
I knew it was too early to promote you.
Casino Royale's opening weekend saw a taking of £40,833,056, or 24.4% of the total gross for the production budget of £102 million. Worldwide box office is 5.8 times production budget. A total taking of £233,137,297.
Treasury has agreed to stake you in the game.
Despite worldwide reluctance and skepticism, this is a great intro to Daniel Craig as James Bond and leaves you in expectation to see the next installment. Quantum of Solace, however, is the least cohesive James Bond. Maybe that's to do with production issues and also a writer's strike at the time. Skyfall was widely received and grossed $125.9 million, but Casino Royale, for me, is the best Bond movie in the Daniel Craig series, even though it took inspiration from the Jason Bourne movies at the time and became known as the James Bond movies.
You've stripped it from me. Whatever is left of me. Whatever I am. I'm yours.
Cary Joji Fukunaga replaced Danny Boyle of all directors to direct No Time to Die about 3 months before the start of principal photography. Danny Boyle being one of the most interesting English directors of the past 25 years, starting with Trainspotting in '96, Slumdog Millionaire in 2008, 127 Hours in 2010, and of course Sunshine. It would have no doubt have been a very different film with the Danny Boyle touch on the Bond franchise. Can't help but think it would have been a starkly different take on the James Bond character and would have been a rather unorthodox, and the fact that Danny has stated that he and the producers of the 25th Bond movie had a very different idea in how this latest installment should have been. Rumour has it that Danny Boyle wanted to cast Thomas Cott, who has been in Destined for Blues 2005, Life Must Go On in 2015, and Cold War in 2018. Danny approached Thomas as the movie's primary villain against the will of MGM. However, Boyle being largely an independent filmmaker, it's unsurprising that he would have had some issues from the get-go with a large studio production. After months and months of delays, wasted advertising money, James Bond hit British cinemas on the 30th of September 2021. At 163 minutes long, and the 25th official installment of the franchise presents James Bond with the most dangerous mission to date. This last venture with Daniel Craig seems to signify the end of an era. Over 50 years of the James Bond character as the alpha male, British stiff upper lip, devil-may-care attitude, for a 21st century fresh take that may mean for future enterprises of the franchise a new audience, but could this mean the loss of the old? The film opens with flashbacks to Dr. Madeleine Swan's past, which reveals that she has had dealings with Rami Malek's villain, Lucifer. Come on. That sounds almost exactly the same as the name of the angel thrown out of heaven. This masked villain, looking for her father, Mr. White, actually finds her and her mother alone. He mercilessly kills her mother and in a twist of survival spares her life, who has been trapped under the ice.
We have all the time in the world.
We pick up James Bond where we left off in Spectre. James Bond and Dr. Madeleine Swan, Leah Sado, are in the throes of romantic beginnings, enjoying retirement after leaving active service. Of course, James Bond's romantic bliss will not last long. However, it is underscored by Hans Zimmer, who provides the classic James Bond feel of exotic locations and expensive romantic hues as Bond drives Dr. Madeleine in his Aston Martin DB5 through the mountainous picturesque scenery. This is set to be a classic Bond. James Bond is obviously drawn to visit the grave of his beloved Vesper's graveyard headstone shockingly explodes, near killing him, which may be a foretelling of what is to come for this James Bond of over 50 years era, metaphorically ushering in the new. The chaotic shootout that follows is exhilarating, and if you feel that James Bond has lost it, this brings back that James Bond knows exactly how to grab your attention. James, you had me at pre-credit scene. Consequently, James blames Swan for what happened in Italy and is convinced that she betrayed him, a theme that we have seen in the Skyfall arc, which follows James Bond going off-grid and sulking for 5 years. The theft of a weaponized virus which feeds right into the current climate with COVID fears brings James Bond back into the espionage club, his affiliation with the CIA, with Felix, the docile comforting tones of Jeffrey Wright, and Logan Ash as Billy Magnuson. From here on, the film gets complicated and it's lazy. Blofeld is killed in the most anticlimactical manner, as though they simply had too much going on and needed to focus the story down to a nice neat bow ending and work backwards for the sake of moving the story forward with their new villain Lucifer Safin. Bond kills Blofeld almost accidentally, and the payoff for killing the head of the organisation that killed Vesper has been built up over 3 movies, just doesn't seem to justify the 3 movies of build-up itself. And to top it off, then the entire organisation of Spectre is just swiped off the board in one final sweep in a twist of fate intended to kill James Bond. Bond is of course exposed to the nanotechnology that kills Blofeld. It's convenient at best and feels as though our protagonist is not driving the story, but the circumstances are driving the narrative. James Bond has now been replaced at MI6, a new 007, Naomi Lashana Lynch, who charismatically places herself in direct competition. For me, jarred. Her first lines poured out of her lips as almost arrogant, as it established her experience is considerably less than James.
The world's moved on, Commander Bond.
You were 00?
2 years. So stay in your lane. You get in my way, I will put a bullet in your knee.
This new woke agenda is something that I reel at, and generally because it's simply not generous. It almost suggests that male traits such as controlled aggression, combat competence are best in females. That said, Naomi gets into her stride, and it seems to me that there is a suggestion that James Bond's 007 status could be passed back and forth between male and female actors. As they say in the film, it's just a number.
Hello, but I don't work for him anymore.
Tell him yourself. By the way, I'm not just any old 00. I'm 007. You probably thought they'd retire it.
It's just a number.
Yeah,
I don't know what you think about that, but maybe you could leave a comment in the section below. But Lashana's character Naomi came into her own as she begins to work with James, and this collaboration for me became interesting and fresh. However, there wasn't enough for this between the two characters for that to really be fleshed out. James Bond and Dr. Madeline Swan's chemistry, well, I've seen more chemistry in Toys R Us, to be honest. However, for the first time in a Bond movie, we see Bond not only having to save the world, but also his family. Bond kills Safin after he releases that he too is going to die and has to accept his fate. It was exciting to see Loetta for Safin, who could actually be a threat to James Bond, and is much of a throwback to the age-old villains that we saw with Sean Connery and Roger Moore's era of villains that could actually pose a threat to James Bond. Its stakes seem to be raised to heights we haven't seen in the Bond field since GoldenEye, a lair in the sea. Safin monologues like the 1960s villains as Dr. No and Ulrich Goldfinger. Safin is most definitely the same family. No Time to Die is full of setups and no payoffs until the end. Die-hard fans of Daniel Craig will see their era of Bond come to an end, as I did when Pierce Brosnan was replaced, a tinge of nostalgia. Being most definitely his last outing as the secret agent with a license to kill. Without a doubt in my mind, Daniel Craig has managed to bring the fresh take on the British agent, even if there has been issues along the way, such as writer's strikes and delays in production, and as we've seen in No Time to Die, distribution. I'm optimistic about the future of Bond. Lashana Lynch is definitely going to be an addition to the Bond family lineage. For how long and in what capacity, we can only speculate. However, she showed herself to be an exciting and capable asset, even if I twinned a little at first. James Bond is definitely going to change as we see more and more women's issues being front and center, and men finding courage in values that depict women as capable and collaborative. I'm not sure what James is going to be in 2025, but it's going to reflect the values that include women. I hope that you really enjoyed this review, and if you did, please boop the like button and click the notification bell, and also subscribe. If you would like to see other reviews that I've made, I'll put a link here for Shang-Chi, the new Disney Plus video that's come out on Disney Plus. I've made that review just for you. I'll see you in the next video.
We're gonna make it. Oh.
You promise?
Madeline.
Just get off that island.
Is it done?
Good.
Have you left?
No.